You're watching the Live Well, brought to you by Rapala.
Hey, welcome to the Live Well. We're ready to go with the big one, the #1 tournament above all others, the World Championship, the Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic, presented by Hook. First time ever from host city Fort Worth, Texas, there in the Lone Star State, big-time bass fishing country. Lake Ray Roberts known to carry some big bass from time to time, and I expect we'll see a few of those on June 11th, 12th, and 13th. Now I bring in our colleague, former Classic champion Davy Hite, and 54 guys, Davy, have qualified to fish at Lake Ray Roberts. What are they going to be looking at when they arrive, and how are they going to deal with it?
Well, Tommy, it's the World Championship of Bass Fishing for the first-time Classic contenders. I'm sure it'll be, a dream for them just to be there. But after you're there that first time, I'm not saying a first-time angler can't win, but after you're there that first time, it's all about trying to hold that trophy above your head. You realize what a big stage it is, no doubt about it. So here's what I think, what I've been watching, and the anglers that I've talked to that are in the Classic, they're watching the water level. Everyone was expected, including myself, that everyone that I talked to was really thinking, man, this is going to be an offshore tournament. And it might still be, but with Ray Roberts up about 2 feet, if it stays up 2-3 feet above normal pool, there could be a lot of fish shallow. It could possibly be one shallow. So if it isn't quite 2 or 3 feet or a little more and is just high or full pool, I think it certainly could be one offshore, but maybe not as deep as, out there 20 feet, but more like a 6, 8, 10, 12 feet. I talked to Lee Livesey. He knows as much about that area as anyone that I know of. And he said he thought it could be one offshore or on the bank. But if it's offshore, maybe a little shallower where like a OG Slim, a really hot bait right now, a flat-sided bait, could be a big factor, Tommy.
All right. Of course, this lake was built in the 80s, so it's a fairly new lake, which means there's a lot of standing timber around there, and not as much grass as, of course, the last couple of places we went to, Neely Henry and Lake Guntersville, of course, but different set of targets this time around.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a good point. I should have talked about it a little more in my opening, but there's house foundations, there's roads, there's bridges, there's rock piles, there's all those things offshore, along with a lot of standing timber. But that's why water level will really play a big deal. I think fish love to be shallow if you have high water, no matter what kind of cover you have offshore. But there's a lot of different scenarios that could play out. You could have anglers that are fishing on some road beds, some house foundations, that sort of thing. Or you could have an angler be right there with them in contention, fishing the bank with frogs and jigs and that sort of thing. So I think it's going to be one of the most interesting, if not the most interesting Classic we have had in a very long time, and I truly mean that.
Well, I fully agree with you, Davy Hite, and let me be the first now to ask you a question that's going to be asked of you about 100 times over the next couple of weeks here. How does winning the Classic change your life?
Well, Tommy, I heard Ray Scott growing up saying it'll change your life. You could make $1 million and all that sort of thing. But it's something, it's one of the few things that you hear about, and it's actually bigger and better than what you hear. Truly, winning the Classic was a goal of mine. And, I cried with my family the day that it happened for us because I knew it'd be a life-changing experience. But it's been even bigger than that. It's been the greatest thing I've ever done outside of my family, my wife, and my kids here on earth. I mean, it really has. And everyone always remembers who won a Bassmaster Classic. Your name is put on that trophy to stay there forever. So, it is our World Championship of Fishing, and there's no way that I can really say what it has meant to me and my family other than it's even better than I ever imagined.
Well, that's really all we need to know, Davy. Great job, and we look forward to seeing you down in Fort Worth and everyone else June 11th, 12th, and 13th. Full coverage here on Bassmaster.com, on Fox, and on Fox Sports 1. We'll have it covered 9 ways from Sunday, as they say, and we look forward to seeing you there at the Classic.